Where are my parents at? We got any parents out here in Phoenix? We got any Phoenix parents? I have a kid now. My wife got pregnant last year, and oddly enough, we kept it. I didn't see that coming, but not very popular choice in Los Angeles, but, we did it. So we have a baby now, and I looked at my tour schedule. Seems like it's mine. This is our first kid, man. I'm pretty excited. I became a dad at 40, which is awesome, because now if anyone ever has a gun to my head, I could be like, don't shoot! I have a kid! Because before I'd have to be like, don't shoot! I start thinking about my life. I'm like, oh, he should shoot, actually. Give me the gun. I'm going to shoot right now. I'm going to shoot myself. But it's a lot of pressure having a kid, dude. Like, we had this hippie doctor out there, and he made the whole thing too complex. He's like, you guys can have a home birth. You can just have the baby at home. One fucking hippie excited about that idea. Yeah, you think so? I don't know. Me and my wife, we don't even cook at home. I was like, can it be delivered by DoorDash? That's really where we're at right now. So we get the baby home, and my wife immediately has a panic attack. She's like, oh my God, what if I can't breastfeed this baby? What if it doesn't like my nipples? And I was like, well, it wouldn't hurt to pluck the hair off that left one, For the baby, I love that hair. That's how I fell in love with my wife, that barbed wire like eagle claw talon. You pluck it, bing, it's right back. But I said, for the baby, why don't we pluck that hair and wax your asshole 3 or 4 times? For the baby. So we're breastfeeding the baby. She shits 500 times a day. I don't know if breast milk is made of Indian food. I'm not really sure how it works, but babies are weird because they shit all over themselves and then they get furious at you when you clean them. Like, I'm an alcoholic. Believe me, I've shit on myself plenty of times. But if you clean me, you're my best friend for the rest of that weekend. My daughter just shits on herself. I wipe her. She's like, hey, I was wearing that. I say my daughter. That's not fair. She'll let us know. We're woke parents. She's going to choose her gender and her race. I'm hoping for pansexual, biracial, Korean. I feel like that'd spice it up. No, but we are very woke parents. We've been letting our daughter drink Bud Light throughout this whole controversy. I think that speaks well for us. But actually, here's one of my favorite things to do with my daughter. I like to take her, I like to dress her up in really pink frilly outfits. I like to dress her up in pink frilly outfits and then take her to like conservative places. And then people say, oh, your daughter's so cute. And I say, this is my son! How dare you! Try that in a small town. No, but the truth is, if you're a parent, you just want them to be healthy, right? Like, I would have no problem if my daughter turned out to be a boy. I just hope she'd figure it out fast. I don't want to raise a girl till she's 18, and then she's like, I was a boy this whole time. Like, bitch, we could have played with better toys. And you're like, wait, is that a trans joke or a sexist joke? It's non-binary. That's what that joke is. It's a little bit option A, a little bit option they. But I hope she remains a girl. I don't want to raise a guy. Men do all the bad shit, right? Men do all the evil stuff. They're the mass shooters. They're the fucking evil people. You have a son, he might rise up, he might end up doing something terrible. You have a daughter, what's the worst that happens? She becomes a teacher that bangs a student. That's about as bad as it gets. And what's the worst that happens? My daughter becomes a stripper, performs on stage like her dad, but actually gets paid. Bring it on. Make it rain on her. Come on. I want a beach house. But we gave her a very nice female name. We named her after my mom. We named her Karen. That's not my mom's name, but she is a difficult white woman, and we just... I actually did want to name my daughter Karen, because I want her to be a comedian. And if your name is Karen, you got an immediate opening joke. Like, there's no way that doesn't kill in 20 years. Be like, yeah, my name is Karen. My parents named me that because they thought I was going to be a cunt. Lucky guess. And my daughter's got the best sense of humor, dude. I made her laugh for the first time at 6 weeks old. It was a 9/11 joke. And just the look in her little eyes, man, she will never forget. It was amazing. But if you are a father of a daughter, it's tough to name her, right? My wife was like, how do we name her Kiara? I'm like, I had sex with a Kiara at Burning Man. like, Susan? I'm like, hand job at a Nickelback concert. We went through like 50 names, and I'm like, God, it'd be easier if we're having a boy. And my wife's like, I don't think it would. Oh, my wife's a whore in that joke. And I got a great wife, dude. I got an awesome wife, dude. She is beautiful, smart, rich. That's not why I married her, but it's not why I married her. It's definitely adjacent to why. And let me tell you, it is way better to be with someone who has money than someone who doesn't. That's not a joke, that's just a PSA, really. It takes all the pressure off the marriage. Like if my marriage doesn't work out, it worked out. People are like, dude, I heard you got divorced. We're like, no, I bought a boat. That's what happened. Yeah, man, my wife is paid. I always thought, like, you had to get famous to make money as a comedian. Turns out, you make one nerd laugh in Portland, set for life. Good to be with someone with money. And if you're a poor, I'm not trying to shame you. I used to be a poor myself. Then I married a rich. I ascended. So I'm just trying to inspire up here. My friends all try to fuck with me, though. They're like, yeah, but your wife makes more money than you. Don't you feel like less of a man? I'm like, dude, I never felt like a man. That is not an issue for me. In fact, when your wife makes a lot of money and you get to take some of it, you don't feel like less of a man. You know what you feel like? A pimp. Like, I charmed a woman into giving me money. All I had to do was tell her I'm on Chelsea Lately. She's too busy being a doctor to know that show's been canceled for 9 years. Yeah, dude, it changes you too, man. When you're with a woman who's successful, turns you into a real feminist. I'm serious. Like, we got to get rid of that pay gap. These women got to get paid more. Because I'm going to take a lot of that money on the back end. Dude, it makes me sick to my stomach that my wife makes 70% of what a man makes. 15 of that 30% belongs in my pocket. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying, let's treat these bitches right for the sake of their loser husbands. But I will say, the only problem with it is she did not take my last name, my wife, which I understand, because in Hebrew, Mandel means broke comic. So I understand. But she was so cute about it. She took me aside before the wedding. She goes, listen, I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you. I don't want to take your last name. I was like, oh, that's what you're worried about? I thought you were going to ask me to sign a prenup. I don't give a fuck about the name. Like, I'm going to take your name. I need better credit. But yeah, dude, I married a doctor. How cool is that, huh? A fucking doctor. I married a doctor. Well, she's a urologist, so that's a dick doctor. That's true. That's not how we met, but that is what my wife does. All day long, she just looks at dicks. Not like my ex-girlfriend used to, but like in a professional way. And during COVID, it was so weird because they shut down the hospitals, so my wife would have to sit in a room looking at dicks on Zoom. How was your pandemic? I'd hear my wife in a room like, oh, you gotta hold your dick up to the camera. Oh, you hit the filter, now your dick has whiskers. And then she'd come out of a room like, I'm so tired of looking at dicks. And I'd be like, you're gonna hate what I have planned for tonight. Dude, I didn't even know there were dick doctors. I thought dicks are like horses. They get sick, you put them down. But no, there's my wife, giving them mouth to mouth, getting them back on the track. Could you do it? Guys, could you do it? Could you be with a woman who looks at like 40 dicks a day? And then you gotta show her yours and she's like, well, better than my 3 o'clock, I guess. The only thing I tell myself is if you're a dick doctor, you probably don't see the best ones, right? No one goes in there like, what are you here for? Me? A fucking high five? Look at this. Grabs the nurse. For people just listening to the album, that was a nurse getting hit in the head by a dick. That's why you gotta come to the live show. But you know what she told me though, my wife? She is a dick surgeon, and she told me they still cannot make dicks bigger. Yeah, I feel how sad it got in this room. They can't make dicks bigger, which frankly goes against half the emails we'd get in the early 2000s. You remember when the internet first came out? It was always like, hey, you need a bigger dick? You're like, who keeps telling Hotmail that? I think it's weird they can't make dicks bigger. They can take a woman's vagina now and turn that into a dick. Feels like we skipped a step. Why have we given up on the small dicks and we're already working on the pussies? That seems weird. You go to the doctor like, I got a small dick. They're like, all we can do is turn your dick into a pussy, turn that pussy into a bigger dick. Yeah, dude, she helps guys out with their dicks. Which is good, right, ladies? Men need our dicks to work. Have you ever seen a man unable to get hard? Yeah. Whoa. That woman said yes today. That's why you're picking up the check, right, Brian? It's not a good look, right? We don't handle it well. Men, when we can't get hard, we just start mumbling shit. We're just like, oh, I didn't get enough fructose. Oh, the Santa Ana winds. It's a dry heat, so. Actually, guys say the same thing when we can't get hard, right? We go, it's not your fault. And women are like, yeah, dude, it never occurred to me that it was my fault. So. It never occurred to me that it was my fault. So just go in the other room with that slinky and do whatever you gotta do. Because I used to drink a lot. I'm an alcoholic, so every now and then I would lose the old chubster. My wife said that's the medical term, and it's a bad feeling, dude. Ladies, for a man who loses his erection during sex, you know what that feels like? That feels like we got invited to a picnic, and all we were asked to bring was the wine opener. And even that, we somehow fucked up. But we didn't realize we didn't have it, so we're eating all your dip and your hummus and your chips. And then you're like, how about we have some wine? And we're like, what about just a soft seltzer? My wife is good at sex. She is a very good lover. She's a very good lover because she's a urologist, so she understands the equipment. Sometimes she just chops me in the right spot. I shoot out a gold coin. The pit boss comes out. But yeah, so that's sex. And that's sex.